Hi, Bond. Hi, Cheyenne. How are you?
I'm pretty good. You seem energetic.
I'm energetic and ready for episode 2 of our show.
Episode 2 of our experience?
Our multimedia experience.
Our multimedia podcast experience.
Called
D&D from Memory.
So what happened last time?
Last time, not a whole lot happened, because we were just introducing characters in the world and lore and talking about it. All that happened was basically Kismet got together, still not named Kismet yet. We got together and decided that we were all going to go up north to Arsenia.
But in order to do that, what did we have to do?
We had to get good with the Adventurers Guild.
Yep.
Because we went in there and they were like, get lost, scrubs. Come back when you've killed some frogs, maybe. So we were like, okay, fine. Yeah, so we don't have to do that. There's a little extra part to that we didn't mention last time.
There was actually an adventuring party at the Adventurers Guild that happened to be going northward.
Yeah, they aren't going all the way to Arsenia, but they are going north to Arbor Hall.
And so they would be willing, if we get qualified, to let us travel with them that far.
Yeah, so that's our goal right now. Clear out the bullywogs in this cave so that we can win the graces of Helia and her party.
Helia?
Yeah, Helia! She is the leader of this big party. I say big party, it's the same size as Kismet. I was just thinking about how big she is.
She's very large.
She's
Why?
Well, she is a half Goliath, so that's probably part of it. Helia Stormborn is the half Goliath fighter leader of this band of merry adventurers. She's followed by Mark, who is a halfling rogue, Jacob, who's a human fighter, and Elena, who's a bitch.
But also, she's a human mage of some sort, probably wizard.
Probably a wizard. Yeah, she's actually real cool. This bias is premature.
This bias does not come into play yet, but it will come in later.
Yeah, this is just Bond from the future here to say, don't get your hopes up about Elena.
So after being introduced to this adventuring party,
Yeah.
we head out to slay some frogs.
We're out to slay some mighty beasts.
We head out to the farmlands and try and find this bullywog cave.
Oh, bullywogs! You're gonna get rid of the bullywogs for me? Me, Farmer Wilhelm?
Enter Farmer Wilhelm.
Hello!
The man who contracted the Adventurers Guild to kill these bullywogs.
I'm sold. I've lived on this farm for so many years. I forgot how many years, but all those frogs are giving me a lot of trouble.
After we ask Farmer Wilhelm more about the frogs, we leave.
About this high, and okay, where are you going? Bye.
We find the cave that the frogs are in.
So we go over there and we head on in. That's our feet on the wet cave floor as we enter. It's real dark and dank. It's real dank in here, bro.
Not that kind of dank. We find the lair of the bullywogs.
We do. We find Bullywog Central.
And a bully toad.
Oh, that's what it was called. I did not remember that.
The big one is a bully toad.
Yeah, it's a big bully toad, and it's like sitting in a pond.
Kismet successfully fights and defeats and clears out the cave.
That was a bully toad.
Oh, that's a new one.
That was a new bit for you. You said successfully.
They're gone.
So is most of Chev's leg.
We also sustained some injuries in this battle because we were brand spanking new to D&D and didn't have any thoughts or care for things such as healing items or curing spells.
Yeah, we have a level 1 cleric and
can't do much.
That's all we got. So we all suffered some pretty hardy hits to our small HP pools.
Especially from the poisonous acid that the bully toad decided to spray.
Boy, you're really digging out these memories of this fight.
I have a very good memory.
You do. I have no memory. That's why this fun memory podcast is going to be so good.
So limping out of the cave.
Slurps, slurps, slurps. That's the stepping out of the wet cave with a limp sound effect.
Amazing.
Add that to the Foley library.
we happen to spy part of the wall crumbling in.
Yeah, so there's a crumbly bit on the wall where we can see that there's like an opening to a further part of the cave or another sort of chamber. Can't really see well in there.
We can peek in and we can kind of tell that it's some kind of man-made chamber inside, and we're very curious, but we are also extremely injured.
Yeah, we're bleeding all over the place.
So we decide not to delay
Any further. We will not climb into weird rooms in this cave. So we head back to town to hopefully heal our many injuries.
Where do we go to find healing potions?
It's a really good question. I think we rolled some perception checks, and what we found was the shop of a Mr. Dr. Jelly.
Dr. Jelly?
That's the name he gave us.
We find out later it's fake. Once again.
Everyone lies to us constantly.
We never insight check, and that's the way it's gonna stay for the next 4 years and beyond.
For the presumable future. Anyway, Dr. Jelly, he's real cool. Very
Tell me
cool.
about him.
He is a tall, stern man. He has dark skin, no hair, dark eyes. He has tattoos. Notably, he has chain tattoos on both of his arms, and some tattoos going up onto his face and all over. He's decked out in skulls, not like in a Hot Topic way, like in a mystical way, you know? I don't know what kind of skulls they are, but they sure are skulls.
Varying types.
All kinds of flavors of skulls.
And thanks to our good friend Mela, we're able to get heavily discounted healing potions.
Thanks to Mela's
Go get 'em.
go get 'em attitude, her couponing, she's able to get us the cheapest healing potions.
And we're back to almost new.
Yeah, I think Thala maybe had like 7 hit points at this point, so like we probably healed up to full.
I'm pretty sure we did.
So we feel great.
Our body's taken care of, our wounds healed.
Mm-hmm.
We decide to go try and check out that chamber that we saw in the Bullywog Cave.
Yeah, so we're gonna go back to the cave.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hello, you're passing by my farm again. Oh, all right. Well, let's go
Bye,
back.
Wilhelm.
Bye, Wilhelm.
We enter the cave and kind of take away some of the bits of rock and ceiling of the cave that's kind of caved in around this little opening.
Enough to push a Correa through.
Enough to push a small Correa through so she can investigate and get a better idea of what's happening in this chamber.
So, what is happening in this chamber, Correa?
Well, turns out it's perfectly cylindrical.
So it was a man-made structure.
Definitely man-made, not natural.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little hole in the very middle of the ceiling with a little bit of sunbeam coming out of it, hitting the floor,
Right.
and then
Sounds pretty
spiraling
nice.
out
Oh.
from that spot in the middle are the words, "The whispers, they never stop," written in Elvish,
That's
in
weird.
blood.
Oh.
And they spiral out from that point, going along all of the floor
Mm-hmm.
of the chamber,
Okay.
and they stop at a corpse.
That's fun.
So this corpse,
Tell me about this corpse.
is an older man.
All right.
He has a very manic grin
Oh.
on his face, and his fingers are worn down to nubs,
Oh.
covered in blood, and it looks like he was the one who had been writing this series of words spiraling out from the center.
Don't love it.
Yeah, it's not great. There's also some rats kind of in his clothes.
I mean, I guess as there would be. But do the rats deter Correa from looking through his pockets? No.
Well, we gotta figure out who this guy was.
That's fair.
So Correa digs through his pockets and she finds 3 things.
Mm-hmm.
She finds a bunch of crystals, just
Oh.
random rocks.
He was in there charging his crystals.
Seems like
Got his
it.
chakras right.
2, she found a locket with the picture of a young girl in it. And 3, she found a key, presumably a house key.
Oh, that's useful.
So the rest of Kismet has come in at this point.
Yeah, we've all pushed our way into this chamber and all decided that it sucks and that we should leave.
So we do.
So we do.
We end up asking Farmer Wilhelm about maybe any missing people in the area.
Oh, missing people? Oh, yes, well, you know, when I was a young boy, there used to be Oh, you mean recently? Well, old Tolly hasn't been around very often. He used to live right down the road, down there, the old Tolly house.
So we decide to investigate the old Tolly house.
Yeah, so we go down the road a bit, and we find a nice 2-story farmhouse on the road, and we try the key in the front door.
And it works.
It works.
Seems like it was old Tolly after all.
Yeah, so it's poor old Tolly, presumably, that we found in the cave.
We get into the house and we decide to split up and look for clues.
Oh boy, Scoob! Split that party right on up.
We never stay together.
That's the Kismet way. Our DM loves us.
He loves us and he wouldn't want it any other way.
We're his favorite. So we split up and look for clues.
Chef stays at the ground level. What does he find?
Bunch of money.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so Chev goes poking around and he finds like a loose floorboard and pries it up with his little barred fingers. And he finds a bunch of like gold bars and money and important documents, you know, kind of stuff that you would like tuck away in a house.
But it's a little suspicious for a farmhouse to have.
I guess so.
Farmers don't make bars of gold.
Like, yeah, but also if you took all the money out of our pockets, you could melt it down into gold because it's a gold standard.
We are adventurers, though.
Yeah, we make bank. Not at this point.
Not at this point.
Later
but
on we will. But yeah, it seems like this farmer did have like a good amount of money.
It's a little too much money.
Is it?
I thought it was suspicious.
Well then.
Mela and Thala go upstairs.
Yeah, we went upstairs. Thala was distracted by some paintings, and she found a portrait of the family. So there is Old Man Tully, looking very much alive. There's a woman standing next to him, presumably his wife. And then there's two children who look to be like older teenagers in the picture. And the girl in the painting is the same one that's in the locket that we found around Tully's neck. And also upstairs, Mela is looking around.
Mela, in her pursuit for clues, accidentally breaks a wardrobe. She kind of just pulls the door clean off. But she does find a diary in it.
Yeah, she maybe snooped a little too hard.
A little too much.
A little too excited about the clues.
She ends up finding the diary of Diane, who is the young girl in the portrait.
And in the locket. So in this diary, which Mela reads, as a good cleric should, she gets kind of a picture of the family and the situation. And she sees that there was some turmoil in the family over the past few years. So old Tully and his wife had been fighting a lot about Tully's growing interest in mining and his kind of neglect of the farm and the family increasingly. So her mother and herself, Diane, were planning on moving away. Her older brother, Stephen, at this point had already moved out. And he had gone north to Farthendur. It seemed like he shared some of his father's interest in mining, maybe, which makes sense to go up to Farthendur, Dwarfland, go do some mining of his own.
Possibly.
Yeah. But the diary's left behind, and Diane isn't here, so it sounds like she has gone
to college.
Yeah, she went up to the academy.
Which is in
Arsenia.
Where we're going.
What a coinky dink. But that's all we find upstairs and downstairs. Where'd Correa go?
Correa went down to the basement.
Ooh, the basement.
It turns out there's like a little basement study down there. There's a little fireplace with like a chair in front of it and a little side table. There's bookshelves all along the walls that kind of have books with interesting topics. There's stuff about the different realms. There's books in Primordial.
Oh.
There's a journal that's in Elvish.
It's all very strange things for a human farmer to have.
It is. Now, if you were in perhaps an adventurer's house, this wouldn't seem out of place, but for a farmer or a miner, this seems a little odd.
Yeah, it seems a little odd. There weren't any other things in the house that were like written in any other languages. And the journal is the only thing written in Elvish, which is interesting because the writing in the chamber where we found his body was also in Elvish.
And since they're all humans, I mean, it's possible that they knew Elvish, but just for those two things to be the only things in Elvish seem odd.
Yeah, it's a little bit unusual.
Because Correa's a half-elf, of course she knows Elvish.
Yeah.
So she kind of flips through this beaten-up journal she finds, and a lot of it's blacked out, like in charcoal. But there are some words that she can find.
What kind of words?
Pain.
Oh.
Help. The void.
That's not
She
great.
can't make heads or tail of it.
Not a great journal.
So she investigates other areas of the basement, and on the mantle of the fireplace are a bunch of fragmented stone, broken trinkets, a lot of odd things to be on display. And then in the middle of all that is a little obsidian stone on a little pedestal.
Ooh.
And it's very odd because it doesn't seem to reflect the light like a lot of the other little trinkets do. It kind of seems to actually take it in. It seems very dark.
Ooh, a Vanta Blackstone.
It is.
So Kreia sees this weird rock, and so what does she do with it?
Nothing. Why would you say that?
Well, just, because it looks like it could be really, I don't know, maybe dangerous. Something weird is going on here, and this rock is really, Kreia put it down.
It's already in her hands.
Oh, no.
She's looking at it. She's really giving it a good inspection.
Oh, boy. She's touching it so much.
It's very cool to the touch, and it seems weird. But after touching the stone, Kreia kind of doesn't see much, and she takes another look around the basement, and she kind of understands now why those broken figures and fractured rocks were on the mantle, because they're actually quite beautiful.
Oh.
She thinks now.
Now that she's holding this rock. Huh.
The rest of the party come down to the basement to meet Kreia.
Yeah. What are you doing down here? We say.
Nothing.
What you got there?
A rock.
We are suspicious, but, not too suspicious.
At least until you see Kreia start to, put random things in her pocket for no reason.
We're watching Kreia start stealing from this family home, and it makes us a little hey, maybe don't.
What are you talking about? Oh, how did that get in my hand? Weird.
That's concerning. We're thinking maybe something weird is going on down here.
Kreia hears weird whispers, and there's a figure by the fireplace, but then it's suddenly gone. Kreia shakes her head, shakes it off.
Ooh. So the rest of Kismet goes down to the basement, and it seems like it's a little weird. So we do a quick, magic scan, or Thala tries to. She's definitely, not a magician.
But she can kind of identify or recognize magical things.
Yeah, just, by nature of what she is, she can. So she does a little arcana check, does roll high enough to see there is some sort of magic here, and through some more investigation, she realizes that the locket that she's been holding on to, the one with the picture of Diane, is actually linked to the basement with a scrying spell.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you hold the locket and activate it magically, you get a picture of the basement from, I think, above the door, there was, a little sigil or something.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So it turns out there's a little video camera in there.
Yeah, so,
basically.
So the basement is under surveillance.
Which is odd.
It is odd, given that all that's down here is weird books and trash, and all of the money and important stuff was upstairs. It's just an odd thing to have guarded, and also since this locket was on Tully's person, it seems like it was pretty important to him.
So we find all these little traces of magic, and we are kind of in over our heads. We don't know a whole lot about magic, with just the bare minimum.
As said, Thala, not a magician. Shev, musician. Mela, physician.
Kreia,
stealing rocks.
Anyway,
we go to find Elena.
We go to find the mage we had met at the Adventurers Guild earlier.
Yeah, she seemed real capable. She has a cool dragon tattoo and a staff and an undercut. She's real cool.
She looks very cool. She was reading a cool book in Primordial. She seems to know things about things.
She definitely seems to have some knowledge and some brain cells.
She's definitely not level 1.
Probably level, 10? I don't know. We go to find her.
And after explaining the situation and kind of dropping these clues and talking about the bits of magic we found, she seems very intrigued.
Yeah, in true wizard fashion, she's like, whoa, things to learn? Count me in.
Unknown knowledge?
Holy shit, a mystery?
Let's go!
Yeah, so she is on board, and she comes with us back to Tully's house.
We take her down to the basement and show her the stone we found.
Yeah, and hoping hey, can you maybe identify this stone?
And she does identify it.
Yeah, so she takes it and she holds on to it and casts Identify on it, and then she drops it on the ground
and teleports the party out of the house.
She is looking pale and scared.
Freaked out.
Yeah. She tells us that when she tried to identify the stone, it felt like it was trying to identify her. She sensed very ancient, powerful something.
Also, a little bit of time magic or something?
Something. She couldn't tell a lot about it. It was very unusual.
Very odd.
Very odd, very old. That's something that kept coming up about it.
How old it was. Kreia is concerned about this turn of events and about just leaving things undone. So she returns to the house.
Against protestation, she goes back into the house.
She goes back down to kind of check things out and see if anything else has changed, and nothing has. But she takes out a little box that she has, and she decides to put the stone in the box. She doesn't know anything about magic, so it's just a plain box. She's trying her best.
She's trying, just, maybe keep it out of sight.
Yeah, keep it out of sight and maybe it'll be fine. So she gets down and puts this stone in the box. And while she's down there, she can see in her periphery just a dark forest surrounding her.
Ooh.
And she can smell the grass and
Ooh.
feel it under her feet. But then when she looks up, it's just the basement again.
Huh.
So she has the box secured. And by secured, I mean just rocking the box back on the mantle.
Okay.
Goes, locks the door behind her, goes back up the stairs. As she's climbing the stairs, she hears footsteps coming down the stairs.
Oh, kind of like mirroring what she's doing.
Yeah, but there's no one there.
Hmm.
And so when she reaches the top of the stairs, she goes back down and tries to meet those footsteps in the middle.
Okay.
But there's no one there.
All right.
And she doesn't feel anything particularly odd or weird. She waits for a moment, another moment, and then loud chanting starts.
Oh.
Dathoon, a thok, Dathoon, a thok. And black skeletal hands crash out of the basement stairs and grab and claw at her leg. Tar seeping down them. She runs up the stairs and out of the house. But Kismet isn't there. The party is nowhere to be seen.
We were just there. Where could we have gone?
She can't find you.
No.
She can't see anyone. It's just dark and desolate. Everything looks the same except the colors are muted. It's oddly quiet. Until a hand comes out of the sky and crushes the town of Agwin in the distance.
Oh, jeez.
Freaked out, Kreia just runs back to the house to try and figure out what the heck is happening.
Uh-huh.
And as she returns to the house, the chanting returns as well. Dathoon, a thok, Dathoon, a thok. There's still no one around. She can't figure out what's happening, so she decides to repeat the chanting. Dathoon, a thok, Dathoon, a thok. And then suddenly, she's back at the bottom of the stairs, and the chanting has stopped. And then she hears in her ear, assume, accepted.
So, meanwhile, the rest of Kismet is outside the house waiting for Kreia to come back out. And she's been gone for a little while, so we are starting to get a little bit worried. Elena tries probably to use locate object on Kreia, and she can't sense her at all. It's like she's just stopped existing. So we all get a little bit freaked out, and we go back into the house, but when we get to the basement stairs, Kreia is standing there at the bottom of them, and we're like, oh good.
Where were you?
Yeah, where were you? Until things start to get creepy again.
We hear the house start creaking suddenly, and beyond the door of the basement study, we hear things moving inside.
Ew.
And so we decide to get out.
Yeah, at this point, it's too much for all of us, and we're just like, nah, we leave. So we do.
But when we get back outside,
We're missing one.
Elena's not there.
Yeah, Elena is nowhere to be found, and we're worried that she might have gotten stuck inside somehow, something could happen, but we can't find her anywhere. All we can find is kind of the remnants of a teleportation spell.
So we know she went somewhere, but why or where, we don't really know.
Yeah, no clue. We're gonna go, right? Are we gonna leave now? This place is bad?
It does seem bad, but Korea's also very compelled to go back inside. And she really wants to, and she's arguing with the party.
Don't, maybe. We were just in there, and it's bad.
But if she goes back and checks things out, then maybe...
No, it's still gonna be bad. So Kreia is trying to get back into the house, and we can't really convince her to not go. So Shev casts sleep on her. Good night, Kreia. We throw her over Mela's shoulder like a big sack of potatoes, like a little sack of potatoes. And we take her back into town. One thing that happens when we get back into Agwin, we see Dr. Jelly again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we say hi, and he kind of gives us all a weird look. Which, like, fair, I guess, for carrying an unconscious half-elf. But that's just something to note.
He watches us very intently.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's just a little bit weird. So we get Kreia back to the Rusty Tavern, we get a room, and we tuck her soundly into bed, and we all go to sleep for a restful, rejuvenating night of slumber. Except for Kreia.
Kreia awakens, and she's laying face up on cold, inky black water. It's dark as far as she can see, and the water seems to go on forever. She's not drowning, she's not sinking in the water, she's laying on top of it. And she starts to hear echoes and whispers and voices. They say, your friends betrayed you. No, return. The bargain. Return as they all have. She starts to feel ripples in the water under her, and black smoke starts creeping into her vision. Everything starts to get colder, especially the water. She wakes up suddenly in a cold sweat,
Yeah, that's fair.
and her heart's beating hard. She can feel a cold pit in her chest, and she sees a shadow in the window watching her. But then it's gone when she blinks. The cold pit in her chest almost moves when she moves, and she somehow understands exactly what it is. It corresponds exactly to the stone in the old Tully house. She doesn't know why, but a connection's been made.
Oh boy. So this was our second session of playing this game, and already
We're in it.
we're in it. Oh boy, are we in it.
What can we look forward to on the next episode of D&D from Memory?
On the next episode?
Yeah, what are some tidbits?
Rocks.
More rocks?
Rats.
A battle, perhaps?
Rolling initiative?
Oh my.
Oh, some inter-party conflict, perhaps?
Do we hit the road?
Is there road hitting?
Indeed.
Oh!
Find out what happens next time on D&D from Memory.